that's a lot of people. Those of you who heard me speak in Bristol will be relieved to know I have this on something solid rather than a piece of paper. So when my hands start shaking, I'll hopefully still be able to read the words. So I joined the choir in 2013 after my mum died from cancer. Walking through the door that night was definitely one of the best things I've ever done, and the choir is now such a massive part of my life. I've made the most wonderful friends, had the most fantastic and nerve-wracking and hilarious experiences. I've learnt a lot about cancer, and I also feel like I've learnt so much about people. We're such a diverse bunch, so many different personalities that I would never have met if it wasn't for the choir. That 1 hour a week for me has become like a vital part of my survival almost. You can walk in the door and you can chat to anyone, and if you don't feel like talking, that's okay too. You can just be yourself, and it just works. So no matter how you feel before you go on a Monday night, you know you're going to come out feeling better. I had no idea when I joined the choir how many places I would go to that I really would never have gone, and how many experiences I would have that would just never have been in my life. So my first gig was a big one. It was the 70th birthday gala concert, hosted by Rob Brydon. That's me, Rob Brydon. Ooh. 10 of us had brought together all the choirs, which was back then over about 450 choristers on one stage, and it was an amazing experience. Singing with all those people to a full auditorium. I assume it was full. I was on row Q, so if you think like A, B, C, I couldn't really see the audience. But what I could see was 400 other people all in front of me whose lives had been affected by cancer. And that's pretty powerful stuff. And it was an amazingly glitzy event for my first gig. My second gig, I just highlighted something. My second gig, a few weeks later, by means of contrast, was equally memorable but for different reasons. We were booked to sing at the Mega Frost Fair, the aforementioned Mega Frost Fair, which we have been back to in subsequent years, but this was the wet year. So wet that the roads were flooded, and I think only about 12 of us made it. So by the time it was our turn to get on the stage, which was the back of the truck, the stalls were all packing away early, everything was ruined, and it was literally a monsoon. Ruth was down on the ground, head to toe waterproofs, including the waders. Literally everyone had gone home. Our audience consisted of, I think, one dog and a guy in a high-vis jacket picking up the litter. So it was pretty classy. But true professionals, as you know we all are, we climbed up onto the back of the truck, sang our hearts out, because that's what we're all about. It's not the size of the audience or the venue that matters, which is lucky. It's standing shoulder to shoulder with this crazy bunch. Over the years, we've sung at so many places: Celtic Manor, St Woolas Cathedral, the Bristol Balloon Fiesta on a day when the balloons actually flew, which doesn't always happen. We sang at the Mayor's residence in Cardiff on the staircase with the audience, like, literally in our faces. That was a particularly good gig because there was an amazing Indian buffet and also free-flowing wine, so that went down fairly well. We've also met up with other choirs. One of my all-time favourite evenings was when we went down to Barry and sang with the Barry Choir. And we all ended up walking along the seafront at sunset, singing at the top of our voices for like a long time. We didn't even know these people, but we had this amazing thing that we could share. We could share the music. Oh, you always know it's going to be a good gig when there's a bus involved. And we've had some hilarious road trips, including an overnight trip to London to star in a National Lottery advert. That's probably another ooh. All expenses paid by the National Lottery. We even had makeup artists, which I don't think Alan was particularly impressed about. We've sung at weddings and funerals, surprise birthday parties, in churches, pubs and parks, in the blazing sun and the pouring rain. It's pretty much, you name it, we've sung there. The choir has grown massively, and we see new faces nearly every week. In one way that's sad, because you know that that's yet another person whose life has been affected by cancer, but it's also one more person that we can welcome in and support, which I think is what we do best. Possibly better than singing, if I'm honest. We're so lucky to have such a diverse bunch of people in our choir. It sometimes feels like we should actually have our own TV show. In fact, I have regularly likened us to the Vicar of Dibley. I won't point out all the characters now, but if you want to see me afterwards, then we can discuss this. The last couple of years have been difficult for me. In September 2016, my dad was also diagnosed with cancer. We were told it was incurable and had already spread to his bones. So when something like that happens, it changes everything. It changes who you are, and it changes your life forever. But these people here know and understand that without having to say anything. In fact, we don't really talk about cancer. We don't need to. It was devastating news, but I think that it's knowing that I have this network of people around me that has got me through the last 2 years. I've been to choir less than I used to because I've been looking after my dad, but you don't have to be with them to know that they're there. The little messages people send, coming home to flowers on the doorstep, or a cake baked just because. I feel really lucky to be a part of this. We also have Jo, who is so much more than just our choir leader, as you can see from what she's organised here tonight for us all. She doesn't treat us like service users, she treats us like family, and we absolutely love that about her. On Monday, Jo told us the sad news that one of our choir members is really quite poorly now, and his family would like us to sing outside his house after choir if anyone was available. Obviously, nobody had that planned into their evening. They were going home to make dinner, or walk the dog, or relieve the babysitter. But I think it's a real testament to the choir that it wasn't just a handful of people who managed to make it. It was literally everyone who was at choir that night. Just got in their car without a second thought, went straight down to the house. We filled the streets, we sang for our friends, and we showed support for the family. It really is so much more than just a choir, and we really do so much more than just singing. So finally, I just want to say a big thank you to Jo and to Ruth, all of the choir, and to all of you who are here tonight supporting our events, because you have quite literally changed my life and the life of so many others just by being together. So let's hope that we can long continue to put smiles on each other's faces.